Father's Day is here, and Dick's has the equipment to give Dad that perfect day. Check out amazing deals throughout the store, or let him choose his own gift with a Dick's gift card. Every season starts at Dick's.
Tim Kalishup, Bomani Jones, Jackie McMullen, and King's Landing.
Good for them.
MVP Downing. Love that dirty water. And
great for him.
Serena and Prince with the scepter. Let's do this.
Look at that fake smile on the left.
You shall not.
Welcome to Around the Horn, presented by Smirnoff, part of Happy Hour. Here's Tony Reali.
Welcome back around. Not sure if you guys saw the end of Friday's show. Woody Page and Pablo Torre ending the spelling bee debate in a tie. Who could possibly have seen that coming? They split the FaceTime, so history forever changed, and the all-time standings forever lengthened with that one half, forever ruining the spacing of the ledger, much to the chagrin of my OCD. I immediately regret my decision. I apologize in advance, but the ledger now wider, and those are the all-time standing. I'm a monster. Let's go to work.
It's the first word.
We start with King's Landing after the trial by combat and the leg-splitting overtime thriller, and how a team can have 3 road Game 7 wins in one postseason. They could have lost every series, somehow, some way winning every series. How should a team with that type of postseason resume feel heading into the final, Bill Plaschke? You've been covering them all along.
I know a lot of people think, oh, they're going to be exhausted. No, they're so energized and enthused. I can't imagine a team feeling better right now. Not only are they the first team ever to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, having won 3 Game 7s, they did it all on the road. Not only did they do the last one on the road, they trailed 3 times in Game 7 against the Blackhawks. This is a team that's lost 3 straight games to the Sharks in the playoffs, 3 straight games to the Ducks in the playoffs.
So that's the question, Bill. You're talking about a lot of losing. They win in the end.
No, but no, because they've been together for the last 3 years. This whole core group with Dustin Brown and Andrei Kopitar and Jonathan Quick and and Drew Doughty, they know what they're doing. They don't rattle at all. I can't imagine the Rangers, frankly, have a whole lot of chance in this thing.
A whole lot of chance. You're already calling this series the man in Los Angeles, of course. What can we expect? Kalish, join us.
I got to wonder, first of all, what the San Jose Sharks are thinking today. They have this team down 3-0 in the first round, all by blowouts. And now the Kings are moving into the finals. Sharks have been gone for more than a month. They are incredibly resilient. You think about Game 5, they could have wrapped up this series fairly quickly, had a lead in the third period. They let that get away into a double overtime loss, lost at home. Last night behind 3 different times, 2-0, 3-2, 4-3, fought back every time. Their Game 7 records for the key guys on this team, they're up there with Bill Russell and Sam Jones in terms of winning Game 7s.
So what does that say about this team, Tim Kalishaw?
I think this is a better team than it was 2 years ago, because 2 years ago it was Jonathan Quick and a good team, and this right now looks like a great team.
Bomani Jones.
Man, the Kings got to feel like we're here now, baby, and it doesn't matter how in the world that we managed to get here. Every story that you could tell about how they could have almost lost could easily be spun into some story about their resilience. Like Tim said, guys like Gabrick and Justin Williams have 7 wins in Game 7s that put them up there with the Bill Russell level of clutch, having done that without losing in a Game 7. They had 3 Game 7s on the way here. No one's made it to the Stanley Cup Finals with that sort of resume going on. So you could worry about it, or you could just be honest. Hockey has a greater luck factor than any of these major sports. You look at the goal that they won it on. It wasn't about somebody's brilliance. It's about the puck hopping up and going into the net at the time that you needed it to.
So you think there's luck at play here?
There's always luck at play in hockey. Look, they're in it. Be happy. Keep it rolling.
Jackie Mack.
There's luck at play, but there's also a team. Bill, you said it right, I think. This is a great team with a good Jonathan Quick, as opposed to 2 years ago when it was a great Jonathan Kidd with a very good team. Quick has been good for them, but he was really good in Game 7. But he's also been vulnerable at times, and I'll tell you what, Drew Doughty, he's a beast. I thought P.K. Subban was a beast. You can now sign me up as president of the Drew Doughty fan club because he's been carrying that team. And I think, I look forward. I think the Kings, I agree with Bill. I think the Kings win this going away.
Back to Plaschke. Everybody's on the team.
But Monty, you talk about luck. At some point, it's not luck. They won the Cup 2 years ago. They were in the conference finals last year. They're back in the finals this year. That's 3 years of basically the same team. At some point, it's not luck.
No, you're right. I'm not saying that it's entirely based upon luck, but I'm saying in this sport, you can't ask too many questions about how you got there once you're there. Just be happy.
Tim.
I would hold off on any pronouncements out of L.A. saying the Rangers don't have much of a chance. The Rangers have by far the best goalie the Kings will have faced in the playoffs.
A little bit of the recency effect, the recency bias here. You're all jumping on the Kings after seeing them in a Game 7. Last word, McMullen.
Well, you know why? Because they beat 3 of the best teams in hockey to get here. That's the truth. And that series between Chicago and Los Angeles, that's one of the best hockey series I've ever seen.
Okay. I'm not going to take your picks now. I know Bill tried to give it a little bit. I know Jackie put it out there. I'm not taking your picks. We're just going to be happy. We'll move on Wednesday. NBA now. And before anything, Plashke, you guaranteed a Heat win Friday. There's your point right there. You guaranteed no fouls for LeBron.
It was a cheap foul.
He had one, so close, so mute. There it is. Finals preview. To the preview. Duncan says he's happy to get the rematch. Quote, "We'll do it this time." End quote. What do you think of that proclamation, Jack?
I was a little surprised, but I liked hearing it. There's no question how devastated this team was. Their coach, Duncan, right on down the line after what happened. Remember, Tony, they were putting the ropes up at the end of that game.
Yeah, no,
I mean, they were holding the crowds back. This game was won, and then all of a sudden it was like incredible to me.
So that history, you think that means, is that good or bad for the San Antonio Spurs?
I think it's fantastic. And, you know, they say Papa just told them, well, forget all about that. We're looking forward. I guarantee you that's not what he's saying now. He's saying, remember how you felt? Remember what happened? We're not going to let that happen again.
Well, Monty Jones.
Yeah, I was there. I got caught in the ropes at the arena that year. That trophy was there. It was over. And that's why after that series, Tim Duncan looked so beaten after Game 7 and so defeated. Like it was so close. He had missed that layup late in that game. Like he had it and then it was gone. So what else was he going to say when they asked how it's going to go this time? Either you're going to say we're going to win or you're going to say we're not going to play as well as we did last year because the margin was just that thin for them. The issue for me saying about whether or not you're going to win, how's that Tony Parker ankle feeling? Because the deciding factor last year in those games that San Antonio lost, Tony Parker played badly in all of those games that they lost in that series. If he's out there hobbling, it doesn't matter what Tim Duncan has to say.
I think Duncan believes it. I think he has a right to believe it. I think I'm very close to believing it. We'll save predictions till later in the week officially.
Thank you.
Here's the key is that it's been 25 years since the Pistons went from losing a Game 7 in the finals to getting back. It's very hard to get that close to winning it all and get back the next year because all year you're trying to get back to that moment and you've got to go through all these other steps. And the Spurs have made it through these other steps. They've beaten good teams to get there. They're a better, deeper team. They've got much more, a much greater bench than Miami has. I think they have a lot of things going for them, and so I think they have a good chance.
Yeah, Tim, what you're trying to say with that bench is they outscored Oklahoma City 51-5 in the clinching game on the bench. Their benches did. That was the highest bench, margin of victory this season in the NBA. Duncan knows this. He knows that they're a better team than last year. He knows the Heat are a little bit of a more fragile team than last year. He knows the Heat aren't as deep as them. Duncan knows that if he was on the court at the end of that game last year in Game 6, they might have won the game. He knows if he'd made that layup, they might have won the game. The series. He knows all this. I think his confidence is well placed and well founded.
Jackie,
and I'm going to make up. No, I'm not going to.
I thought one of the most interesting things that Popovich said was Kawhi Leonard is the future of the Spurs, and it's stating the obvious, but I think we saw real evidence of it in this past series. The kind of things that Kawhi Leonard can do on both ends of the floor, and why, if you're a Spurs fan, you do feel a lot better about this year as opposed to last year.
Bill, you left out one place that the Heat are greatly improved over last year, which is the Dwayne Wade they had is actually ambulatory. It can go around without being hurt all the time. That's a huge difference between this and last year's series.
Historically speaking, when there's a rematch in the NBA Finals, we had the Bulls over the Jazz in 1997 and 98, and that was, back-to-back wins for Chicago. The last 5 series before that, though, the team that lost the first time came back to win the second time. Is that another thing that you're looking at here, Kalishaw?
Yeah, because I think these teams are very, very close. They showed it last year. A lot of times the hungrier team, they just need that delay.
Especially when that team is coached by Greg Popovich, who knows how to make those adjustments.
McMullen.
I just think those other times were different, though, because it was a young and up-and-coming team that need to figure out how to get past the great teams. This is a little different, I think.
Plashke, Kalishaw 11, Jones 10, McMullen 9. We'll take a break. Buy or sell next. And coming up, Pacer Plan.
Look at those guys.
Thunder Road. And Kevin Love. Town full of losers. He's falling out to win. Stick around.
Buy or sell.
DC Top Cat 11, Jones, McMullen, Plashke chasing its buy or sell, and it's Scott Brooks.
Whoa, don't fall down.
He was not responsible for the slip, nor was he responsible for the shots, but the .633 regular season winning percentage drops to .534 in the postseason. He says he's not worried about what they say or they think. Jenny Carlson, the Oklahoman, she wrote Brooks is out of free passes. Do the Thunder need to make a change at head coach, Flashkey?
I don't know. You know, they all love Scott Brooks. Everybody loves Scott Brooks. They're the nicest guys on the planet. But they've won 70% of their games or more the last 3 years and gotten to the finals once. Sometimes you wonder if they need a new voice, a new energy. It's sort of like when Del Harris led the Lakers back here with Kobe and Shaq to the brink, and then they needed somebody to come in and get in there. It just feels like that.
I really think Durant and Westbrook are so good and so young, they play better with freedom and creativity than they would with a lot of structure. But I understand the criticisms of what happens in the fourth quarter with this team sometimes. I would give him one more year to get to the finals and then see what happens.
Man, they got to get him up out of here, Tim. You start talking about the structure. They don't need a little structure. They need some structure. They don't have any structure as it stands right now. What worried me most was after the game where Brooks called the season a success and the two players are saying, no, we once got to stay here because we've been through these things together and we get along. This isn't about getting along. They got to take another step.
How about that? Anybody on this panel think the season was a success for Oklahoma City?
Nope.
Jackie Mack.
No, but I wouldn't say it was an abject failure either. It wasn't like they lost to the Sisters of the Poor. They lost to the San Antonio Spurs and Tim Duncan and the best coach in the business, which we keep saying over and over. I will say this, too. They need a bench. I mean, Bill gave you the stats in the previous segment. They need some help off the bench. Thank you. He said it again. Nicely done, Bill. And so I think that all makes a difference. I think Scott Brooks, you give him another year to stay.
Frank Vogel doesn't have to be worried about his job. Larry Bird today saying he'll keep the coaching staff intact. Vogel was one potential moving piece for Indy, another Lance Stevenson, and Paul George let his hot sports take be known Friday night.
I mean, I don't know.
Bird today also saying his intention is to bring Stevenson back and stay the course with his team. So buy or sell Bird, Kalisha.
I'm actually going to sell it. I mean, I think the difference between the Pacers and Oklahoma City is the Pacers got to a certain point and they just cratered and fell apart and had problems on and off the court and guys scoring 20 points one game and 0 the next. There was a lot of things that a coach should have been able to fix at least a little bit. It didn't happen.
Bomani Jones?
No, you got to sell every bit of it. They've got issues with that roster that as long as Larry Bird keeps writing this out, eventually people are going to start looking at the executive that put this team together, but they don't have a single player who is both exceptionally talented and someone that you can trust and count on. You're not going to win like that.
Jackie McMullen.
I'm buying it. The question was, do we buy what he said? What do you want him to say? You know what? I'm really disappointed in Lance Stevenson, so I'm not going to sign his sorry behind. I'm going to move him along. Of course not.
Well, is it possible that he could have said that?
Yeah, he could have said that.
But why would he say that? That's of no advantage to his team or to Lance Stevenson especially. I think Lance Stevenson's the one guy I saw, him and David West, that had a little edge to them, an edge that team needed and lacked with some of their more high-paid superstars, like Paul George at times, and definitely Roy Hibbert, who, by the way, Larry Bird did not sign to the max contract, Bomani. He had taken the year off when that decision was made.
Go ahead, Bill.
I think it's so interesting. Larry Bird talked all year about his team needs to be tougher, needs to be tougher. Then when it's time for him to be tough, he doesn't come up very tough. I mean, I'm disappointed in what he said. They were 23-19 in the second half of the season. They lost by 26 points to the Heat in the final game of the playoffs. They were a joke for much of it. They have a center who scored 4 points. Absolutely, these changes need to be made. I'm stunned that he would be so lax on this.
Jackie, did you run into Kevin Love this weekend in Boston?
I was away, but I wish I had.
I just assumed dinner at the McMullen residence the game after the Duck Boat tour. Kevin Love, sightseeing tour of another city, just like all free agents. Only he's not a free agent, Bomani Jones. Is this love trip to Boston something or nothing?
I mean, it's obviously something. You don't just randomly wind up in Boston and run into everybody and then David Ortiz just say, hey, by the way, Kevin Love, heard you was here. I'm a little too cynical to buy that one, right? And it's a good thing for Minnesota, I would think. They're going to have to get something for Kevin Love, and the Celtics seem to have the pieces that will make a decent trade. So you think this is good for Minnesota, that one of their players is taking a tour of other cities? He's good as gone no matter what. At least he's going somewhere that might have some pieces you might want to get back.
I'll tell you what, I talked to Danny Ainge earlier this morning, and he said to me, hey, what's all this about Kevin Love? And I thought, good answer, Danny. Stay away from tampering. I'll tell you what, I think this is a very brilliant move by Kevin Love and his agent to tweak Minnesota a little bit and say, you know what? I'm out of here. Where I'm going, first up Boston, I'll get back to you.
In his very brief stay at UCLA, Kevin Love learned a lot about marketing. This guy markets himself and what he wants to do better as well as anybody in the NBA. With even from the three-point shooting contest to this whole thing was orchestrated.
So you think that, and this is right for him to do this? He's thinking about himself first and foremost, which I mean, that's who you should be thinking about.
Sure, he's not saying he's not going to play. He's not playing hard. It's off season. Go where he wants to go. He's just smart.
It's definitely something. Whether it's something that makes sense or not, I don't know. I mean, I realize the Celtics' history and the appeal of that, but you look at that roster and what they'd look like if they traded to get Love, and he's saying he'd rather leave Minnesota and go to that.
Hey, what are we talking
kind of
about? If there was a trade on the table, what are we looking at here, Jackie?
I think you're looking at the number 6 pick that they have, Jared Sullinger, possibly Olynyk, and the real important piece, believe it or not, is Bogan's expiring contract because Minnesota would want that. It'd be some kind of package like that.
Well, Monty, I can see by your reaction right here, you just realized Jackie took up all your time as you say goodbye. I think we just need to see the thank you ring. That's all we got time for. Flashy, Kalishaw, McMullen, lightning round next. Coming up, Mickleson and the FBI's insider trading investigation. And Poppy making war, not love. Mac, 18. Flashy, Kalishaw, 16. It's the lightning round. David Ortiz says he no longer has respect for David Price, and it's war. Price says it's certainly not war. You can't compare a game to war, and he's sure he's gained more respect from other people for throwing in the direction of Ortiz. Both don't seem to want to patch things up, so whose side are you on here, Plashke?
You know, I'm taking Ortiz's side on this. The use of war was unfortunate, but Price is trying to divert attention to something. He shouldn't have been hitting them. It's a 7-month-old beef he has with them for hitting 2 home runs against them in the division series last year. And I know Price's teammates do not support that. Price is on his own out there. He's acting like a knucklehead.
I'm going to take Price's side. I agree with him about what he said about the war reference that Ortiz used. If Ortiz wants to charge the mound, charge the mound. Don't come out and point when everybody's gathered around you after the next game.
McMullen?
Yeah, but it was the first inning, Tim. That's why he doesn't charge the mound when a Red Sox team was struggling. But you know what? Here's where I do part ways with Ortiz. Afterwards, when he explained everything, he talked about how Price apologized last year after the playoffs for the way he behaved. To me, that's stuff that should have stayed in the clubhouse. I think he went out of bounds there.
And does baseball need to do anything about this when you see both guys? They don't want to patch it up. It appears that way, Jackie.
It does appear that way, and I think they'll both be on a very short leash the next time they run into each other.
And seeing Ortiz's home run trot, the idea of him charging the mound, charging might not be the word, Kalishaw. It might be just leisurely lumbering his way towards the pitching mound. We'll move on. Phil Mickleson says he's done absolutely nothing wrong and will continue to cooperate with the FBI in their investigation to determine whether illegal activity involving insider trading occurred recently. FBI has approached Mickleson twice, reportedly. Once pulling him off a plane, an airport, again last Thursday at the Memorial. Kalishaw, big deal?
I think it's got to be a big deal. I mean, we've all heard about Super Bowl bets and things where he's won money. We weren't so familiar with how much he might have made off Clorox stock. We thought he was mostly focused on golf and making millions there. When his game is where it is and he's got that hanging over him, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, and the problem is Walter's the guy that's involved here, was acquitted of illegal gambling charges in '92. So is it guilt by association? It shouldn't be, but when you both buy Clorox options for Clorox stock the same day, you can understand why the FBI has some questions.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. We got a guy we know he's a little bit reckless on the golf course. We know he's reckless in his gambling, and you have the FBI meeting him after a golf tournament at Memorial in Dublin, Ohio. The FBI showing up where you work.
How he plays on the golf course?
No, I'm saying the perception. I'm just saying the perception of him is being a kind of a gambling guy. I'm just saying this. Everybody knows this.
Not a lot of scoring in that discussion, I should point out. Kalishaw did not receive any benefit of that. Kalishaw, 17 with last word.
I did not really see that coming. No scoring.
In the moment, just never happens.
Judgment the host decides.
Flashy McMullen. So down next. 2 enter, only 1 will lead. Straight ahead. Serena crashing a wedding. And Prince ruling the French. And a bear dominating a hammock. What type of showdown is this, Horde?
Oh, my God.
Bill Plashke, Jackie McMullen, again, meeting in showdown. 2 quick ones, 30 seconds apiece. Good luck to you both. Showdown 1. Good things come to those who wait. We're not going to wait the entire time. 22 seconds it takes for the ball to drop in the cup here. The rule is 10 seconds once the ball stops. Whether the ball stopped is ever... That's the question, really. Do you believe this happened within the rules, Plashke?
No, it's clearly, to me, the ball had stopped. He's over double the rule time. If you let this happen, players are going to stand around all afternoon, go around and get a little skill of coke, hang out, talk to their buddies, wait for the ball to fall. You can't do that.
Bill, that ball was moving ever so slightly, ever so slightly, ever so slightly. He went over to look, and then it went in.
What if he walked and it moved the green, and that's why it moved?
He was walking towards his ball. That's what they wanted him to do.
No, he walked around his ball.
Moving ever so slightly,
In this-
It's just a tiny
College Showdown 2. Prince at the French Open with a scepter. Serena crashing a wedding in a leopard bathing suit. A bear in a hammock just hanging out. We needed an interspecies showdown just to elevate us to the Prince and Serena level that we exist in. Which visual is most fascinating to you, Jackie?
So many choices. I thought, what if the bear had the scepter in the hammock? But then I really have to go with Serena at crashing the wedding. If she could come to mine, I would have loved it, except for she would have only been 5 years.
You think the bride enjoyed having Serena there, Jackie? Interesting.
Yes, of course she did. I would have loved it.
No, I think the bride probably hated that. Kudos to the bear for getting in the hammock. I can't get in the hammock. And once I get in the hammock, I can't get out of the hammock. It's the most stressful thing known to man. Cheers to the bear. Cheers to the bear.
Real quick, 3 words of fewer. Should you have won, Plashke, what would be your FaceTime?
Landon Donovan back.
McMullen.
59 curveball.
Oh, I already needed Landon Donovan. I want to hear this. You think he's coming back, Plashke? Let's go. 30 seconds of FaceTime.
I don't know if he's coming back or not, Tony. I kind of fooled you.
You're breaking news.
I think he should. I think he should come back. He scored 2 goals in the last 3 games since being left off the U.S. World Cup team. In the meantime, the team has had 2 uninspired victories. Most recently, yesterday, 2-1 against Turkey. They need Landon Donovan. If nothing else, they need his experience. They need his star power. They need his energy. They need something because they're awful to watch. They've been boring to watch, and they're headed into this thing. Jurgen Klinsmann, you can make up an injury, get him back on the team. They need him on the team. I think what's happened since he was left off has shown they miss him. America misses him. Bring him back.
So it's 3 goals in his last 2 games. I thought you were breaking news here that he was going to be back on the team's 23-man
kind of led you on a little bit.
And then you
there,
want
Tony.
someone to fake an injury is basically what you're saying,
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Uninspired victories? What's wrong with uninspired victories?
That's half wins.
And we're all still behind Woody Page, 47.5 wins.
He'll never have a milestone win again.
Welcome to the world, Daniel Reali.
Father's Day is coming and Dick's has amazing deals for Dad. Get him out on the green with a new driver from Callaway, TaylorMade, Cobra, or Nike. Save $100 on select 2014 drivers. Update his wardrobe with 33% off select Nike golf polos and shorts. Give Dad a Nike Fuel Band to help him track his workouts. Or let him get exactly what he wants with a Dick's gift card. Use your scorecard to get 3% cash back and to be entered into our Father's Day million-point giveaway. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. Every season starts at Dick's.